Number one, juror number 11 is a woman who today in her voir dire indicated that she thought that Trump was a very selfish man, and she works in a public, a civil servant capacity, and Trump's team actually tried to challenge her for cause. The judge denied it, and so she now sits on this jury. I think also the fact that we have two civil lawyers on this case is hugely important. And the reason behind it, number one, is one of them is bound to be the foreperson of the jury. Number two, even if they're not the foreperson of the jury, they're going to be, people are going to acquiesce to their views and going to ask them, well, you know, based on your knowledge of the law, the jury instructions say this, the verdict says this, you know, how do we parse this all out? So that's a concern. Also, the fact that they are lawyers. Lawyers are trained to always take the other side in terms of the view of any case. So it could go either way for either side, either the prosecution or for the defense. And I also would like to add that these 12 people may not necessarily be the 12 people that go through to the end. We know today there were two jurors that were lost because of information that both sides learned about them.
Yeah, so Trump evidently, I'm being told, is out of the peremptory challenges, the way of sort of saying they were going to kick somebody off. I guess that's how they ended up with juror number 11. Michael, how much of this is already appealable?
The fact that one of the jurors was kicked off for lying is a problem. All of the challenges made for cause that were not granted are appealable. We're just getting started in the process of this jury is probably going to be sworn in tomorrow. Once they are sworn in, jeopardy attaches. But will they remain fair and independent? But by that, I mean, what is going to come out more about these jurors and how are the jurors going to behave? In addition, I think the jury consultant was dead on. Having two attorneys on this case is a stroke of perfection by the defense, because this is going to come down to intent, and that intent is difficult to parse except for people's actions, and then credibility. And I can't agree more with your other guest that they're going to follow two lawyers when it comes to getting into the weeds of this case. For the defense, it's a great addition, and I cannot believe the prosecution let two attorneys on where there's so much technical parts of this case.
Wow. All excellent points. Okay, so that's two book contracts at least, right? One for each of the attorneys on this case. Jo Ellen, if you think about this jury pool, or the jury itself, and you're right to point out that you could have people kicked off and the alternates come in, but is the 12R right now? Who does, other than the two lawyers, who does the defense focus in on?
Well, in terms of being
and how do they do it? How do they do it in the? Yeah. I mean, how does the defense focus on getting to that one, right? Because that's the math. They love 12, but how and who do they focus on getting the one? What would be your advice to both the defense and to the defendant, for lack of a better term?
So what any party does in a case, and certainly the defense will do this, is they will go back through the information shared in the questionnaire and voir dire to see how did they get their news, what's important to them, even looking at their social media to determine those things that are important. They will pick out those kernels of information that may appeal to that particular juror, whichever juror they are targeting in terms of being somebody that is potentially favorable to them.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe.